Hello. I guess let's check the broadcast. Hey, y'all, hey. This is Back to the Basics with Miss Parker. I am here to have the tough conversations to help mend the relationships between men and women so that we can give our best to one another. Come and join me on this journey. Okay, so I have I feel is a really good topic tonight. Only because people that know me know that, um, and I hate to I know I body language means everything. I kind of like roll my eyes. I roll my eyes because honestly, it comes at really just different times, and I'm not always in a space to receive. And so when someone is talking to me, I have to kind of get ready to be in a space to be able to hear whatever it is that the people are saying. But like I was saying, anybody that knows me or has followed my channel knows that I have a tendency to attract people that just want to talk to me and tell me their feelings and their experiences, their life experiences, relationship experiences, want to hear my perspective, my advice. Okay, so one thing that has been common with the women that I have spoken with, listened to, and not to say that I only listen to women. Like men, I think more men come to me when more than women. I think women are a bit more reserved, coming to me only because I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. No, Miss Parker does not do that. Miss Parker is going to tell you the truth at the end of the day, period, point blank. And so I think women are a bit more reserved when coming to me, but I think that is what attract men to come to me and just, speak with me. And I think also because I have an open mind. Anyway, I am rambling. How you been? How's everybody? I know I haven't been on for a while. I have been working and surviving, just trying to enjoy a little bit in between. But I've also been working on content, and it's just crazy because, as you can see, even now, I hear it in my conversation. I am all over the place. I hear it, I see it. You need to point it out. I hear it and I see it. But I've been having different topics of what I want to speak on. And you guys all know that I take notes. I am not afraid to admit that I take notes and I research and because it's important to me to actually speak whatever it is that I know. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, people, I'm I never want to give out false information. And if I do, I will always come back and correct myself because I am not above correction. Know that. Anyway, so the reason I said all of that was that um, the things that the men have said to me about what they experience in the dating life, in their relationships, or what so have you. I've also found the women have said specific things as well, right? And one thing in common is the man ghosted them and they didn't know why, right? So I am not saying that these are the end all be all reasons why, but I am giving us ladies a different perspective of maybe why the man may have ghosted you and or why things may have taken a turn within you's all dealingship with each other. So, Stefan speaks is the video that I will be reacting to, and his video is entitled 7 Things You Should Never Say to a Man. So I'm very intrigued. Let's talk about it. Okay.
But men can be sensitive, all right? Men can be a little fragile. And more specifically, they can be sensitive towards the woman that they actually care.
And just for a disclaimer, which is I find really ironic because a good friend of mine by the name of Jonathan Barreville said that women are always giving a disclaimer for other women before they speak against women. But I feel like I give a disclaimer no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter. I give a disclaimer either way. And so this isn't against men. This isn't like I know y'all, have your sentiments about men letting women know of certain behaviors and this and that about men. So you may have a disdain for the particular person or message that they're sending. I am in, what I'm saying? Like I am in agreement with truth. And I feel that this is a man, and this man can speak for some men and things that we should never say as women to men. And that is the reason why I am highlighting and reacting to this video because a lot of women be like, or men, they're like, but you ain't a man, how you know? You're right. I don't know, my love. I am just reacting to this video. This is a man speaking on what men feel women should never say to them and how it makes them feel. And so I am reacting to that and giving a perspective, a woman's perspective, just to kind of help us understand what it is that the man is saying. I'm kind of like a bridge, if you must say. Anyway, let me stop talking. I know I'm long-winded. It's been a while. I ain't seen y'all in a minute. It's been a while. Okay, here it is.
Care about, that they have deep feelings for, or they're in a relationship with. And what I've seen as a relationship coach time and time again is women not always being mindful of the things they say that really punch that man in the gut, sometimes below the belt. Now, listen, sometimes the woman knows exactly what she's doing and she's trying to punch below the belt, all right? And that can cause all kinds of problems. But if you are not trying to intentionally do that, you do have to be aware of what common things can create a lot of problems in that guy and how he feels towards you and how he starts to act in that relationship. So, one of the most popular things you should never say to a man is, why can't you be more like fill in the blank? All right. So why can't you be more like my friend such and such? Why can't you be more like this person we see on TV? Or the worst one is, why can't you be more like my ex? Now, I would hope and like to believe that the majority of women will not cross the line of saying, why can't you be more like my ex? But it happens. It does. And the reason why this phrase is such an issue is because men do not want to be compared to anyone. They don't want you throwing in their face how essentially someone else is better than them at this. Now, this is not to say you aren't free to constructively criticize a man. I think you should. I think that in relationships, we have to create environments where we can give constructive criticism to each other and we can be open and honest about our concerns, what we see as shortcomings, and encourage each other to be better. But consider if he ever said to you, why can't you be more like her? Right? You would have a fit. There's no way you would be okay with that.
I literally want to make this disclaimer for my women out there. Simply, I think because we hear things a little bit differently. Now, when he is speaking on constructive criticism, that is not an indication or a sign to just express exactly how we feel and don't have no regards to the person that we are expressing it to. Constructive criticism is a moment in which you are teaching. And it's not a moment of teaching to where you are exalting yourself above this person. It is just something that you see that this person can work on. And you are suggesting, not telling, suggesting that this may be a different way about going about things, looking at things, however the case may be. I just want to make that disclaimer because he didn't really highlight that. He may have in this video. I don't know. We watching it together for the first time. I just seen it and I was just like, yes, I think what he has to say and these 7 things and yeah, maybe some women are making some mistakes and that's the reason why we are in the position that we're in. Okay, so back to the program.
And again, the issue would not be what specifically needs to be improved upon, but it would be why does he have to compare you and how that can make you feel inadequate. Not only can it make someone feel inadequate, but it can cause the man to start to question, well, does she have more feelings for this person? Does she want this type of person more? And this becomes a bigger problem when that other person you're comparing them to is nothing like them. All right. So, what's kind of hitting my spirit that I think will resonate with a lot of you ladies is there's been a lot of scenarios where a woman's with a man and he's liking pictures on Instagram, okay, or whatever social media site. And the women that he's liking, the way that they look physically, is nothing like the way that she looks. And because of this, the issue is going way beyond the fact that he's just liking other women's pictures. Not saying that's not an issue, but that's not even what's really hurting her or bothering her. It's if you're liking these women who look nothing like me, then how am I supposed to believe you truly like me? Like how does that supposed to make me feel when that's a completely different style of woman? And so for that man, it can happen in that way too. I do think that men may feel less.
Hmm. I'm not gonna even front. I'm not gonna even lie. I can say that when I was having like when Facebook first came out and all these other stuff, and it was like, the place to be. Um, I I I can relate to that. I can relate to like that's what you like. I mean, because a like is a like. You know what I'm saying? So to us, it's like if you like the picture, you like her, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on in our mind because a like is a like. So that means you like what you see innately because it's a picture is what you're looking at. So you like what you see. And within liking what you see, if we feel as women that that particular person doesn't measure up to uh our it could be our beauty standards, it can be our financial status, it could be um um what are some other things? I think those are the the two major things. If they don't measure up financially and or um beauty wise, we tend to judge. And this is exactly what it is. I'm gonna call it spade. We tend to judge. And for me, I think it probably was. Yeah. I was gonna say maybe, but no, because I don't think I've gotten to know the people that I've seen that the people that I have taken an interest to, like somebody's picture on social media, and I literally judged them just on the beauty standard. So I didn't even give them a second thought. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Yep, I did it. I did it. I was vain like that. That's when I was into social media, Facebook heavy, and I was like, "That's what you like." I even it can probably even cross over into like your exes, and you know what I'm saying. Like I was. I don't know if that's shallow. I don't know. I will see if it is. Anyway, back to it. I just want to highlight that yes, women do that. So I agree. Again, we watching this video together. I agree. Okay.
Bother from a physical standpoint, let's say if we flipped it, her liking guys' posts. Not saying a man wouldn't be bothered, but I think it's not as common. But that comparison piece and saying, why can't you be more like this? Essentially, why is your personality more like this? That can really get under his skin. So you want to make sure, again, if you're going to criticize in any fashion, whatever that specific issue is. So maybe he's not affectionate enough, right? So it's why can't you be as affectionate as this person? Just focus on the affection, not the comparison. Leave the comparisons out. That's when we create more problems than we really want to deal with. And again, you plant seeds of insecurity and you plant seeds of skepticism if the person you're comparing him to is someone who is in your life or accessible to you. You see, it's even though he doesn't want to be compared even to the guy on TV, right? At least the guy on TV is completely out of your reach. So that it doesn't add on the layer of, well, is she gonna go after that guy or what do they have going on? But if you're comparing him to a friend, someone that you used to date, anything like that, then yeah, that can create so many more problems. All right, so now the second thing you should never say to a man is, you're not that strong. So listen, again, do not get me wrong. Sometimes he really isn't that strong, and whatever he's attempting to do in that moment is beyond his strength limit, all right? I think we can acknowledge that that's gonna happen sometimes. And I do think that if it's a ridiculously difficult action for him to take, so it's almost like if he said, yeah, I'm gonna lift this car, and you said, you ain't that strong. No one's gonna take that really offensively, right? But let's say he's like, oh, let me lift this big box, or let me lift this TV. Oh, you're not that strong for that. Like, dang, you basically saying I'm weak, all right? And no man wants to be viewed as weak by his partner, even if he's lacking in physique and strength and muscles, all that stuff. And he may be aware of that to a certain extent. For you to just kind of undercut him and belittle him in that moment, it can be a problem. Now, let me throw out there are going to be some guys who aren't sensitive, who may take it more as a joke depending on how you deliver the comment. And you may have that kind of rapport with him that these little things don't really matter. But I do think you have to be careful, and you do have to make sure that is an established banter that you both have, so to speak, all right? But until you understand that he'll take it in a lighthearted way, and until you make sure you know how to deliver it in a more lighthearted way, you want to avoid that. And again, when it comes to things that he's trying to do that might be beyond what he can actually do, all right? It's almost like you can suggest alternatives to, well, you sure you want to lift that by yourself? Maybe you should get somebody else so it's not too much. You see how that comes off way differently than you're not that strong? Like, just don't hit them in the gut, say, yeah, you're weak. Suggest other things. It's still conveying that maybe his strength isn't there, but it's a lot better, a lot easier for him to take, and it won't turn into anything negative. Because again, all of these things I'm mentioning and will mention, it runs the risk of creating a feeling of inadequacy. and making them feel insecure around you. Because again, now if she doesn't think I'm that strong, does she question my ability to protect her? Does she question my ability to stand up to other men? This can start to play in that man's head, and you don't want to create that for any. You just
And to add to that, that's why I always speak on men and women communicate differently. And you literally and truly have to learn the person for who they are. Because in hearing that, you never know how people perceive and or interpret things, especially the opposite sex, because we naturally think differently. Like women will naturally, not all, but women will naturally think emotionally, and everything is based on how we feel. I feel like this today. I don't feel like this today, you know. And men are logical, and this has to be done. I got to do this, I got to do that. It's structure, it's logic, it's that's what it is. And so to hear that and to hear the reasoning behind um, the way that we speak. It reminds me of one of my favorite YouTube content creator, the kosher clinician. If you guys don't know him, please go check him out. And he always says, if a woman protects the man 6, he will protect her 12. And if you know a clock, that's straight up and down. And so, meaning it's a metaphor for straight up and down. Like if she protects him in his mindset, and it's not to, and I'm bringing this up because I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, but I was afforded to be able to go to school in the Valley, which brought better education, but it definitely, and those in the Valley is a more affluent neighborhood. And so the Valley brought more education, but it also brought more perspective, right? Different perspective from what I was raised and used to. And I remember hearing girls of the of another race speak on, well, why should I dumb down myself for a man? And for me, it didn't register for me because it wasn't about dumbing down yourself for a man. It was just about understanding and recognizing that words mean something. You know what I'm saying? To me, I feel like women are inspirational, but our inspiration comes from our way of life, the way we move, who we are. That alone is the inspiration for people. Like people see how you are and be like, I like that and I want to be like that, or I inspire to move the way that she moves, or however, whatever. But it's never really on words. But I think because women study body language and other people, and have a memory like an elephant, I might add, tend to use that to hurt. And only because I think it's a defense mechanism. I will stand up for my women and say I don't think it's intentionally done. For most women, I think some women do have an agenda, but most women it's not intentionally done. It's just a defense mechanism. But um, we tend to use our words to hurt, and are found out that our words can hurt somebody because of what we um, observed from that person. And we're able to pick it out and be like, oh, those are your pushing points. Those are your buttons. And if you push mine, I'm going to push yours, because we're emotional, right? We're not thinking logically. We're not thinking in that moment what the outcome can be, as men do. Men tend to, or have the gift. Like I always say, men have the gift of perception and women have the gift of, shoot, I was going to cuss. Lost for words. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. And so, with the gift of man's perception, they're able to tell the difference, the present. the future and the past. They're able to make an assessment logically about what can transpire, what has transpired. You know what I'm saying? Intuition. That's what it is. Intuition. Yes, yes, yes. WCP then have um, foresight. Exactly. Yes. Perception, foresight. Yes, sir. I agree. Thank you for that term. Yes, men have the gift of foresight. They're able to see the past, the present, and the future. And women have the gift of intuition. We're able to feel. We can feel when something is right and something isn't wrong. When we're truly tapped into it, not when we're led by delusion, but when we are truly tapped into our feminine nature energy, we are able to feel the energy in a room and be able to have the intuition. So I say that to say that yes, I totally wholeheartedly agree right now with whatever it is that he is saying, because it's never what you say, but it's always how you say it. And if you can give a different way of saying it with, you know, with concern. Like that was me, like with the others when they spoke of, well, why should I dumb down myself? For me, it was like, well, why are you thinking of it as dumbing down yourself instead of just recognizing the situation for what it is and seeing that this person isn't there and just speaking with grace? Just literally and truly speaking with grace. You don't have to be, if you understand and recognize that this person isn't on your level, however, physically, intellectually, financially, however, you don't have to deal with that person, but you don't have to degrade them in the process. And I think that's what we miss. I think that so many women have been left and done wrong, and just, to where when we get a chance to, uh, when we, and it's been done by people that I think we admire or care about how they feel about us. And that's the reason why it has affected us. And because of that, we then in turn into those people that have hurt us. And then, the confusion comes. And that's the reason why women are going around not giving grace anymore with men. And it's not to say, like, we're not throwing in their face that some women are smarter than men. Like, it's been proven that women mature faster. Women, you know what I'm saying, is not to say that the man is that the woman is better than the man. I'm not saying that. We all know that, it comes at different stages, and you may be at a stage with a man that is just not there yet, but not to say that he won't get there. And it's not to say that you should belittle him because he isn't there. You just give grace and then you move on to somebody that's on your level. I mean, this is just human decency. Again, I am just trying to highlight things that we already know, hoping that we get back to the basics. Okay, back to the video.
It's just best to leave that alone. All right, so now number 3, and real quick, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. I appreciate your support. So the third thing you should never tell a man is it's just a game. So now this can apply to, typically it's going to be either sports or video games. All right. Now, granted, there's other games that men can become very passionate about, men can become very even addicted to. All right. And an addiction to it or overuse of some of these things is unhealthy. All right. I'm completely on the same page with some of you on that way of thinking. However, let's go a little deeper for a second. Understand, and let's start with video games. Understand that video games for a lot of men, and quick disclaimer, I'm someone who used to play video games a lot. I stopped playing them a long time ago. Not saying there's anything wrong with a man who plays video games, but I want to let you know that I've been on one side of the spectrum and now I'm on the other side. But video games for a lot of men is an escape. It's a getaway. It's a way to take my mind off life and all these other things that may overwhelm me. It's a more enjoyable pastime, all right? And because of that, the video game becomes the man's sanctuary, so to speak. All right, his place of peace. Even when he's rattled and all into it and acting all crazy, he likes being there than being in the world right now, having to deal with a bunch of other nonsense that stresses him out. And so, to some men, video games is very important to them. All right, it can be the equivalent to what maybe reading a book to someone else. Granted, we can argue that reading a book is more beneficial depending on what type of book it is, but that's not the point. The point is how he perceives it and what it means to him. All right. And so essentially,
Okay.
when he's in that space, he doesn't want you trying to pull him out of it all the time. All right. Now, listen, I do think that if you notice your man being too much into video games to where he is not taking care of his responsibilities, all right, or he is being too lazy, then yes, you should discuss these things with him. Nothing wrong with that. I would encourage you to. But you don't interrupt while he's playing the game, okay? You don't make it an argument and fight while he's playing the game. This is the wrong time. If you do that, you can actually create resentment, all right? And create just a lot of friction in the relationship. And yes, you may be saying right now, but it's just a game. No, it's not. Like, stop doing that. It means more to him. Now, here's something else that I personally believe and have observed when it comes to men's, I'll use the word obsession with video games. I believe that men are internally wired to face challenges, conquer something, have something they can be proud of, right? Achieve.
Right. Yes.
And video games has become an easy way to get that fix. All right. For a lot of men, going out into the world and trying to do big things seems too daunting. For some individuals, they don't want that level of achievement, but there's still something in them that wants to beat something, so to speak. All right. And playing that game and beating that level and doing this, it makes him feel good. So again, when you say it's just a game, you are devaluing what is valuable to him. You are, in a way, making him feel like he should feel guilty for wanting this, playing this, and indulging in this in any kind of way. And again, there is a line that he should not be crossing as far as where it becomes unhealthy. But I do believe that if it's important to him, there has to be an understanding and a willingness to strike a balance there. So take back the it's just a game. No, it's more than a game.
Wow. Can we say wow? Can we just say wow? That was such an eye opener for me. I am planning to tell my story. I know people that have gotten a chance to know me are just like, you need to tell your story. But I have a son, and he's working, but he's still living at home. Um, but I, the video game thing, it didn't last too long for me. I think, it was a fad for, I think I went as far as Mario Brothers 3. I think that may have been the last time that I played video games. So it wasn't as, like, I didn't look at it as Stefan just spoke on how it may be a confidence booster, if that's what he said. Like, for me, I perceived it as sometimes it can be a confidence booster of what it is that they need. Like, I can identify that as, I can kind of relate that to, which may not be as positive, but some women who need to feel validated, however, and they will post a picture, on Facebook, and, to get some likes so they can feel good about themselves. I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying, like, I can understand what people's vices. I can understand people's vices. And if you know me, you know that I got in this space because of my son, and I was looking for knowledge on what I can share with my son so that he can be the most alpha version of himself, because I was a single mother, and so I raised him as a single mother, and we bumped heads a whole quite a lot, because I think because in innately, in my mind, I was like, even though I'm the mother and the nurturer, I still need to be strict, and I need to hold a certain stance and sternness with him. And I think that that was very confusing for him, because I am a woman and I am the mother and I am supposed to be nurturing, and I show that nurturing side, but I also show this stern side that should have came from his father. And so we kind of bump heads. And so I'm in this space just to kind of right my wrongs, find different answers. How can I help my baby? And so this just really was an eye opener for me, because I may have been like, this is a game. Like, he may have came home from work, may have had a stressed day at work, and he wants to go and play the video game. I'd be like, why? Like, why you not doing this? Why you doing that? And so that makes total sense in a real way. It's not a thing of overindulgence. Like, I understand overindulgence. I understand when this certain particular vice gets in the way of your daily living, but that's wasn't what it was happening. He just wasn't doing what I felt he should be doing. Instead of allowing him to do what he feels he needs to do to be the man that he needs to be, and I wasn't giving him that grace. And this just opened up my eyes. So I appreciate number three. Okay, now we back to the video. I'm so sorry if I'm so long winded, but this is just, I'm loving it. And I'm hoping that, this sparks a conversation, or sparks a thought, or sparks some type of change, you know, ultimately. Okay.
Better than them at this. Now, this is not to say you aren't free to constructively criticize a man. I think you should. I think that in relationships, we have to
I think
create
I,
environments
I
where
think I
we
messed
can
up.
give constructive criticism,
Wait, oh,
the
this isn't what we was
comparisons
at.
out. That's when we create it in a more lighthearted way. You want to avoid that. And again, when it comes to things that he's trying to do that might be beyond what he can actually do, all right? Um, about men can become very even addicted to, all right? And an addiction to it or overuse of something is it's just a game. So now
I
this
found it.
can apply
Found where he was at.
to typically is
I
going to be either
apologize.
sports or video games. All right. Now, granted, there's other games that men can become very passionate about, men can become very even addicted to. All right. And an addiction to it or overuse of some of these things is unhealthy. All right. I'm completely on the same page with some of you on that way of thinking. However, let's go a little deeper for a second. Understand, and let's start with video games. Understand that video games for a lot of men, and quick disclaimer, I'm someone who used to play video games a lot. I stopped playing them a long time ago. Not saying there's anything wrong with a man who plays video games, but I want to let you know that I've been on one side of the spectrum and now I'm on the other side. But video games for a lot of men is an escape. It's a getaway. It's a way to take my mind off life and all these other things that may overwhelm me. It's a more enjoyable pastime, all right? And because of that, the video game becomes the man's sanctuary, so to speak, all right, his place of peace. Even when he's rattled and all into it and acting all crazy, he likes being there than being in the world right now, having to deal with a bunch of other nonsense that stresses him out. And so, to some men, video games is very important to them. All right, it can be the equivalent to what maybe reading a book to someone else. Granted, we can argue that reading a book is more beneficial depending on what type of book it is, but that's not the point. The point is how he perceives it and what it means to him. All right, and so essentially, when he's in that space, he doesn't want you trying to pull him out of it all the time. All right. Now, listen, I do think that if you notice your man being too much into video games to where he is not taking care of his responsibilities, all right, or he is being too lazy, then yes, you should discuss these things with him. Nothing wrong with that. I would encourage you to. But you don't interrupt while he's playing the game, okay? You don't make it an argument and fight while he's playing the game. This is the wrong time. If you do that, you can actually create resentment, all right? And create just a lot of friction in the relationship. And yes, you may be saying right now, but it's just a game. No, it's not. Like, stop doing that. It means more to him. Now, here's something else that I personally believe and have observed when it comes to men's, I'll use the word obsession with video games. I believe that men are internally wired to face challenges, conquer something, have something they can be proud of, right? Achieve. And video games has become an easy way to get that fix, all right? For a lot of men, going out into the world and trying to do big things seems too daunting. For some individuals, they don't want that level of achievement, but there's still something in them that wants to beat something, so to speak, all right? And playing that game and beating that level and doing this, it makes him feel good. So again, when you say it's just a game, you are devaluing what is valuable to him. You are, in a way, making him feel like he should feel guilty for wanting this, playing this, and indulging in this in any kind of way. And again, there is a line that he should not be crossing as far as where it becomes unhealthy. But I do believe that if it's important to him, there has to be an understanding and a willingness to strike a balance there. So take back it's just a game. No, it's more than a game. It's all those things I mentioned. And yes, this can also play into sports, whether he's playing it or rooting for his team. Now, again, I'm going to put out there real quick. I'm someone who I played a lot of sports growing up, love sports to this day. And once upon a time, I used to be more emotionally attached to sports. And then I kind of had a shift in my thinking, like, listen, this ain't gonna do anything to improve my life. I still enjoy sports, but that emotional attachment that I had before is not nowhere near as strong or even there at all. So again, this is something that I understand both sides of this. I do think that men and people in general have to be very careful with how emotionally invested they get to where they'll let this game ruin their day. But I understand that, again, to them, it's not just a game. And to them, it is kind of the extension of the video game, just a version that they don't play. But they view themselves as, this is my team, and I want my team to win. And when my team wins, it makes me feel good as well. Again, I feel the need to say, I do think that individuals have to find other things that give them that great feeling of achievement that they can actually put their hands on. But it's important to them. So it's another example of when that game is on TV, do not interrupt. Do not make an issue. If it's an emergency, that's different, all right? But outside of an emergency, let that man have it. Let him have his game. Let him do his thing and just keep it moving. And show respect for what is valuable to him the same way you would want him to show respect to what is valuable to you. All right. So we're going to keep it moving. And now we're at number
Let's keep it
4.
moving.
And the fourth thing you should never tell a man is you need to man up. Now, what I originally had on my list, and I will still include it as like a sub phrase to this fourth point, is you're acting like a little, you can fill in the blank, B, and it ends with an H, okay? All right. Now, some of you might be like, I would never say that to a man. Listen, there are plenty of women who would have told a man he's acting like a little,
That is so true. I'm gonna say this because I cringe, and this new generation is like they have no filter, they have no regards, no concern for anybody. And I've heard when young ladies, young women, young females, I should say, literally just straight out called the man that they with because they got into it at a, and if you're like a market, a corner store market or a liquor store or something like that, and why you acting like a, and I'm telling you, I just feel that it's like one of the ultimate disrespects, just as spitting on someone. Like I think is just shouldn't do. I don't know. I really actually don't know. But I've heard so many women call men the B word, and it is disgusting. It is really like I am. I don't like it. Okay, back to it.
know what, all right? Anything like that. Man up, you need to be a man, you acting like this. All these things call into question his manhood. All of these things can emasculate him in that moment and can cause him to feel, not even just cause him to feel, it shows a lack of respect. All right?
Yes,
Now,
yes,
again, I understand that in some
that's
moments,
what it is. Yes.
he may literally need to step up as a man. He may need to grab his cojones, as some people would say, all right, and make some things happen. But as his woman, as the woman he has decided to share life with or to be in a relationship with, okay, he does not need you unless you guys have established that kind of relationship. But most men are not going to feel good about their woman coming at them like that. All right. What he needs from you in that moment is encouragement, loving encouragement. Um, um, you know, trusting in him, saying, I believe in you. You know what I'm saying? These types of things that inspire him and give him the fuel to quote unquote man up. Give him the fuel to step up in the way that you're looking for. But when you attack him, because those kinds of words are attacks on his manhood, it can create a lot of problems. Now, here's the other thing you have to understand. And it happens so often in so many relationships. So calling him a little B, right? Or telling me he needs to man up or any kind of insult in that way is essentially what I like to call chopping his balls off. All right? just work with me here. And so when you chop the man's balls off, what happens is he now looks for other opportunities to reattach his balls. All right? He looks for ways, or what some may call buck up at you. Now he comes a little bit harder at you because he's trying to regain that manhood he feels like you kind of took from him in that moment, all right? Or to show you, oh no, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. No, I'm the man here. The problem is that men tend to do this at the worst moments. Like he's not properly reattaching his balls in a way that's like it's gonna be healthy. No,
Productive,
because
right?
he's just looking for any opening to essentially reassert himself. And so now what happens is it turns into this very negative cycle. And I have literally coached couples where they're having all these other issues on the surface. When he doesn't do this and she doesn't do that and so on and so forth. But at the very root of it all, is she disrespecting him? When I say she disrespected him, I mean she showed a blatant lack of respect in a way that she came at him, that it started that whole process of you chop the ball, he's now trying to reattach them, and it becomes this toxic cycle that goes on forever. Now, some may say, well, if she attacked him, he did something first. That argument can be made in some situations. But the point is, it's one thing for him to blatantly do something disrespectful and then you're disrespectful in return. Not that that's healthy. Either way, if we should not answer disrespect with disrespect. We should not tolerate disrespect. And if the
Yeah.
person's not going to correct the issue, we leave them alone. But the
Okay.
minute we pour disrespect back into it, we're not going to have this back and forth battle going on. And what starts off as that one incident will snowball into bigger problems. So again, you have to be very careful with your words and you have to be very mindful that in that moment where you feel like, let's just say deep inside, you just feel like he's not being what in your eyes man enough right now, all right? Again, then encourage, speak life into that man. And I feel the need to say this. If you feel like encouraging and speaking life has not gotten you anywhere, then the question becomes, are you even with the right man? You should not feel like you have to cross disrespectful lines to try to light a fire in him. Because even if it lights a fire in getting him to do whatever in that moment, you planted the seed of toxic energy, of disrespect, of all these other things that will now grow into bigger problems. So again, it can be tempting in those moments, or some moments you just lose sight of things. It gets the best of you, and you say these disrespectful things. And if you ever have, because maybe some of you watching this have already done some of this, all right? You've already come out of your mouth with these words. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge that it was a problem. Acknowledge that it was wrong. Take accountability for it and work towards doing things better moving forward. All right, so now we're at.
That was another gem. That was truly another gem in a real way. Because, first and foremost, women want to feel protected, provided, procreate with the man. Now, protection is subjective. It is whatever the person feels they need protection in. Some men fit into that category, others don't. So if man, that level of man, whoever that man is, isn't providing you with the protection that you need, don't disgrace him for that. Don't belittle him for that. Don't downgrade him for that. Give him grace and walk away. I mean, because if you're going to degrade him for being who he is, degrade yourself for even allowing him in your space and your time and your energy. Like you know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, no, we got to go back to giving grace. Like, okay, well, you're just not the one for me. And that's okay. That's okay. I think the problem comes to play where we so desperately want this person to be that we try to change them. For whatever reason that we want this person to be, we try to change them to fit this narrative of what it is that we have in our heads. And I think that goes both on men and women. I think we both tend to do that. And no. But today is about the women. This is what we tend to do. So I'm gonna stick to the women. Yeah. And if this isn't the one for you, how about just letting him go? How about not degrading him? How about not belittling him, putting him down? Because you're innately causing what you've already been through, because hurt people hurt people. So if you've been hurt by somebody, you've been hurt by somebody that has already been hurt by somebody. So, how about we stop this cycle? Let's get back to the basics and let's give grace and let's just agree to disagree. I think that's what it boils down to, agreeing to disagree. It's okay that you don't feel the way that I feel. It's okay that you're not on the level that I'm on. It doesn't make you bad, it doesn't make you less than any of that. It's just not meant to be. And that's okay. Right, ladies? That's okay. There's no need to downgrade or talk down or, I get it. I understand. I grew up in, the 90s. I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. So I understood the um, influence through our music that may have influenced our thinking process as far as what a particular gender role is, and we kind of stuck to that and compared, and that's just unfair. I think that people are individuals. I think that people come from all walks of life and have different experiences, and they perceive and think differently. And I think that we need to approach each person and learn them from who they are and treat them accordingly. And even with that, it doesn't mean that you need to be mean. I know so many women, and I have it included. I admitted that I became the person that hurt me when I was younger. I admit it. I'll tell you. I'll tell my story one day. One of these Sunday confessions, I'll tell my story. But today is Factual Friday. And facts is I have, I've become the person that has hurt me, and I've treated men a certain way because of what was done to me, because of the choice that I made. Period, point blank, at the end of the day. And so, I understand. I get it. Doesn't make it right, though. And it doesn't make it effective, because that's what we're about, being effective. Because effective is so much greater. I promise you, it's like, what is it? The flies and the shit and honey. It's some saying. You catch more something with something. I never understood it, but I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know. Anyway, back to the video.
Number 5. And the fifth thing you should never say to a man is, my ex used to do that too. So this kind of goes with number 1 in the fact that men do not want to be compared. And it's one thing to say, be more like this person. That's already bad by itself. But to now, it essentially, you devalue his action by saying, oh, my ex used to do that. Like, I don't care. Like, I was going to say something else, but I don't care. Why would you do it? Like, why would you even bring that up and throw it in a man's face? And again, the same as the first point. When you start to mention your ex in that way, you start to give the man reason to believe you still got feelings for your ex. Or, well, if your ex used to do it, go
That
be
makes
with
sense.
him then. Go,
That makes sense.
let him do it for you again. Like, there should be no comparison. There should be no saying, well, forget all that. And let me say this. This is kind of hitting my spirit. So when you have a lot of past experiences with people in general, there becomes more layers of comparison to use. And sometimes it can be very easy, human nature, you could say, to compare what our partner is doing to what used to be done by others. Now, if your partner is lucky enough, well, this is going to sound bad, but if they're lucky enough to where all your exes were trash, then now the comparison game works in their favor, right? But sometimes the ex wasn't always trash. It didn't work out for various reasons, or whatever, or they may have been trash in one way, but they were great in a different way. And that can create this bad habit of looking at things through the lens of what others have done compared to what your new person's doing. And so it's very important as individuals that you try to just forget all of that. And I know that's like, sounds kind of ridiculous to some people. Like, why should I have to forget the past? Like, you don't want to bring that stuff into your new relationship. you really want to try to look at what's happening with your partner as a new experience. Because even if what they're doing is what someone else has done for you before, it's new because it's them doing it.
Mm,
And that's the lens you have to look at. Like, this is still a new experience with this person. That's all
right,
that matters. And
right.
the quality that they're bringing to you. And if you want it to be better, okay, how can we make this better for each other? There's nothing wrong with that, but not on using the comparison to the past. And I think that if we work on that and work on essentially emotionally detoxing from past experiences so that we can have a more full experience now in the present, that would be a very great thing for a lot of couples and a lot of relationships. All right. But ultimately, stay away from any comparisons to the ex. Stay away from bringing up the ex and all this stuff. Other than if there are actual conversations you guys are having, and let's just say your man asked you, did your ex ever do this for you? I don't want you to lie. I'm just not gonna ever tell you to lie to save his ego or anything like that. If
Indeed,
he asks a
indeed.
flat out question, answer it. Okay. I will say that I think it would be good that even if you say, yes, my ex did it, but I love how you do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you bring it back to them. You bring it back to acknowledging what's in front of you and showing a focus and appreciation for that. But don't lie when they ask you questions. But other than that,
Another gem drop. I love how he created a problem and then gave a solution. I think too many of us are on these platforms just really venting because we never really had a chance to be heard. And again, I always say people begin to heal when they feel heard. And so this platform is giving people a lot of opportunities to be heard for their own healing. And nobody's giving solutions. And I love the fact that he gave up a problem and then gave us a solution in which we can try. We don't have to take his, exact uh, guidelines. You chew the meat and spit out the bones. You know what I'm saying? Whatever works best for you at the end of the day. So I love that. But he had so much. Like, how many of us is in our own way where we have compared an ex to a current person? And unbeknownst to ourselves, like, I can give examples of you just in casual conversations, and um anything can come up and be like, oh my God, I remember when such and such, and we used to. And it doesn't have, the comparison doesn't always have to be negatively. Like, you can be sharing an experience that you've had with another guy or a guy previous to the guy that you're with, and you're just, because one thing about senses, everything has memory. You know what I'm saying? And so you can smell something and it goes back to a memory, a time when you've had that. You can hear a song and it goes back to a time where that song made you feel a certain way, or you were having an experience with a certain person. And so that song always brings you back to that memory. Again, everything has memory. And so within that dynamics, we have to be careful with comparison because, again, like the title say, we can be in our own way. That may be the number one cause, why women is not successful in relationships. Are you comparing? And it could be from just having a lot of experiences. And with that, you haven't given yourself, because I love that he said that, time to detox, time to get away from all of these, spirits that you have inhabited, and to, detox and rid of your body and your spirit so that you can be open to new and not always be in comparison, if that makes sense. If not, please put it in the chat. I will gladly explain. I may not be articulating as I would like to, but If not, just let me know and I will happy to explain. Anyway, I love that gym. Okay, so I think we're almost done because I think this is like 4 or 5. I know this is a longer video than what I normally do, but I think this is so important because I want our women to know some of the things that we are doing that may be in our own way, and we are not getting the outcomes of what it is that we want. And we can say, like, we are this great woman and we just want to understand it's the men. And hey, it may not just be though. I always say, even with the men that is not able to communicate and or effectively communicate and or be able to have a rapport with women. It just may be you. Have you taken a look at yourself? It may be you. And the same thing I tell the women. It just may be you, my love. What are you doing? What are you saying? At the end of the day, pure point blank. Nobody likes disrespect and condescending people, especially from the people that is supposed to have your back, because we are helpmeets. We are supposed to help the man in our lives, and righteous man, not just any man. Like, let me just make that disclaimer. Like, I think so many of us have devalued ourselves by messing with men who wasn't worthy, I might add. And we've gotten the experience that we've gotten. And I think that we need to learn from it and progress and move upward, not down. But anyway, back to the video. We almost done. Hold on with me.
Leave the ex in the past. Focus on your current relationship. All right, so now before we get to number 6, be sure to get your copy of the book, How to Get a Man to Cherish You. Do not get triggered by the title. I always have to say that, all right? Trust me, when you
Yeah,
read
because
the
I was gonna
book, you
say
will
what?
fully understand, and women are loving it and finding it very helpful. I had one recent review where the woman said, man, her man is so much more attentive now. Their relationship has gotten so much better. Trust me, I'm all about healthy advice. These aren't tips and tricks. This is going to be healthy, real things to implement that you're going to see results from. So get your copy today. Click the link in the description or in the comment section, or go to becherishedbyhim.com. So now, number 6, and that is the question, the statement. Am I fat? Or do I look too fat? Or do I look fat in this dress? Anything with the word fat, gained weight, any of that, do not ask your man or bring it up. And here's why. One,
I do
it's a
that.
trap.
I do
All
it.
right, like this man has no way of navigating this situation unscathed, unless, now let me always throw this out there. As I said it multiple times in this video, if you guys have built that rapport and you can honestly say you have reached a place where you can take the constructive criticism and the honesty from your man without making it an issue, without holding it against him or any of that. And I think you should strive for that. And I applaud the woman who can. But be real with yourself and be understanding of the position you're putting your man in at that moment. All right? If you know anything other than you look fine, baby, is gonna be an acceptable answer, then don't do it. And let's look at the possible scenarios here. If he says you're fine, are you gonna still question, oh no, you're not being honest? Oh, why don't you be honest with me? Only for him to then, if he says it, you now be like, oh, so now you're looking at me fat? Or you starting to feel
Pause. I don't say I feel judged. Okay, I'm gonna go back.
insecure in the relationship because you feel like he's looking at you differently. All right. Let's also consider he does say, like I said, he does say, oh yeah, you have gained a little weight there. Are you gonna be able to handle that? Are you gonna be able to take that
True.
and accept it for what it is, and also understand you asked for that honesty? Because if
Right.
not,
Yes, sir.
why are we
Yes,
playing
sir.
this game? Or
Yes, sir.
why are we even dabbling in this conversation? All right.
I
If you
agree.
have concerns of your man feeling like you've gained too much weight, I do think that it needs to be established early on how to talk about this in a way that you can handle it and you're going to be okay. All
Okay, I know we almost done with the video. I know you're probably tired of me talking, but I literally and truly want to make a disclaimer. Like, we as women literally and truly want to be desired sexually by our man, not by every man, but by the man that we are with. We still want that man to find us attractive. I will always and forever say, do what you need to do to keep yourself in a state of mind frame that you feel comfortable with how you look to be able to be desired by your husband. I will always and forever say that. But I do want to get on our women to say that just because a man desires to have sex with you does not mean he desired to make you his wife. And I think that we need to stop conflating the two because it does not go. When it comes to sex, men will have sex with anything. That's the reason why they would cheat on you with someone that you feel is not of the beauty standard as you, or someone you feel is not as affluent as you, because it's about sex. At the end of the day, it's about attraction. And I don't know if I can say that. Sometimes it can probably just be about just getting the nut off. So you want to always and forever make sure that you not only keep yourself up because you're a woman and this is what we're supposed to do, but also keep yourself at a level of desiredness for your mate. Never get too comfortable to where you feel like, oh, well, I got the ring, I'm married, I had his children, he's never going to leave me. Yes, that may be the reality, but you still want to be desired. You don't want to, I think it reminds me of like, why did I get married? Where I don't know if they never gave a back history of if she gained weight, if she was already huge. Is that bad? If she was already the size that she was when we seen her, and we just seen how his behavior was towards her. But if if her only job was to be a certain way, then I she should be doing that at the end of the day. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You know it. Miss Parker is not gonna sugarcoat it. She should be doing whatever it is she needs to do to be able to maintain what she has. Is give and take. That's in relationships at the end of the day, pure point blank. So I just want to put the disclaimer of we need to make sure and ensure not only for our mates but for ourselves, because it gives us confidence. When we look in the mirror and we like what we see, it gives us confidence, and then we're able to move, you know, through life easier because we're emotional. When we're not confident, is we don't make good decisions. We don't it doesn't go right. So, make sure that you are able to look in the mirror and look at yourself and like what you see. And if not, change that because it's something you can change. Okay. We're not focused on things that we can't change. We are focused on things that we can change, and we are asking the Most High for the wisdom to know the difference. Right? Okay. We're almost done. We're on number 6 and then number 7, and we're done. You don't have to see me or talk to me. Okay.
right. Or what better ways you would like for him to approach it. All right. And so also, this is just something that's kind of coming to me right now, because I know that sometimes, and this is kind of going off the path a little bit. I know a lot of times the issue with the woman gaining weight and how the man now views her. A lot of that sometimes stems from, well, he's not showing desire as much anymore. All right. He's not coming at you the
I just
same
said
way,
that.
or maybe he's not trying to
I just
initiate
said
sex
that.
like he used to.
I'm watching a
And
video with y'all
for
the
some
first time.
women, in attempting to try to understand what's going on, they might ask the whole, "Do you think I've gotten fat?" question. All right. And I think
We
that
know it.
Here's a good rule of thumb. To if you can't handle the conversation being, completely honest. If you feel like things are deviating in your relationship in the realm of intimacy and all these
I
different
did.
things, then ask yourself, how far have I gone or deviated from where I was physically when things were great? All right. So, what I mean by that is, all right, let's just say, for example, when things were amazing between you two in all these different ways, and he was showing that desire, you were 20 pounds lighter. All right. And now you've gained 20 pounds, life hits, things happen, whatever the case may be. And now you've noticed the change. All right. I think
And
that,
we noticed.
again, if your focus is on trying to solve the issue, then just focus on trying to get as close back to that 20 pounds lighter as you can. And I say that to say
I
this, and
agree.
some of you may be a little bit bothered by that, but understand where I'm coming from here. There's the saying, and I've said it many times in my videos: men marry hoping the woman will never change. Women tend to marry hoping the man will change.
Will change.
And
Yep.
so
Yep.
men, it's
Yes.
almost like
Yes,
you
sir.
already know where he showed you his most desire, he liked it. Plain and
Right.
simple.
Right.
And unless there's other things that have thrown it off, and that can be the case too. But if we're trying to do a process of elimination to figure out what could be the problem, we can say, okay, well, let me get a little bit better in shape right now. And that still doesn't fix the problem. Then maybe we now know there's some
It's
other
something
things.
else.
Or you can go in
Right.
reverse. You can look at it as,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
what may have transpired since our better days? Maybe there's some things I'm not doing as a woman that I used to do. Let's
Yeah.
the point that I'm trying to
Self
get at here,
evaluation.
because it's not
Yes.
all about the weight,
Yes, sir.
is getting back to what the environment and the actions were when things were great.
Good.
That's a great rule of thumb. And it's one that I give to men as well. It's like, you want to get back to the good times, get back to everything else that was happening during those good times as best
Right.
as you possibly can. All
Right.
right. And again, that's if you cannot handle the conversation of weight, but you are trying to find ways to figure this out or solve the problem. But
I like
at the
that.
end of the day, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from, because I don't want
Yes,
anyone to
sir.
be offended or bothered.
No,
You
no,
know,
no.
I tell you these things with love and with what I've seen in so many couples, and I've seen work for so many couples. But ultimately, the discussion of am I too fat, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone as best as you can. Or what I would really love for all people to do is establish the kind of relationship where we can ask these questions, we can give honest answers, and we don't internalize them. We don't make it a problem. We don't throw it back in our partner's face. We take it as for what it is, and we find ways to be better for each other. And now we're at the seventh thing, which, let me just say it and we'll get to it. So the seventh thing you should never say to a man is, those condoms are too big for you.
Interesting.
So look, I was gonna put your penis is too small or something to that effect, but I thought the condom one was just a funnier one to put. So we went with that, but we're talking about the same thing here. Now, quick disclaimer, because I know, listen, a lot of you aren't having sex, and this point is not to encourage or push you guys to go be sexually active. It's to address those who are already active, all right? And while dealing with your man, things like size and condoms, whatever, is an issue. Anyways, the point is, and I think you guys understand why this should never be said. Again, it's such a backhanded insult. Like, I mean,
I
sometimes
get
I
it.
wonder if just saying your penis is small would be better than saying the condoms are too big for you. I don't know. They're both bad. Say neither. Now, listen, I am all about, as I've mentioned multiple times, I'm all about having honest conversations and being able to constructively criticize. However, if there's one area that I think constructive criticism doesn't really have a place. It's a man's penis. And here's the reason why, okay? Because he can't do much about it. At the end of the day, wherever he
I agree.
is where he is. Now, I do think, and I'll probably have to make a video for this, maybe on the men's channel. By the way, I have a men's channel. You guys should
Okay.
check it out. Stefan Speaks for Men.
Okay.
But, and I'll actually add that link below as well. I do think that some men may not. I do a lot of research on physical health and all these things, and I do think that a lot of men are not taking care of their body in a way that maximizes their full potential in all areas, including down there. And I do think that some men may have room, do have room for improvement, okay? And I think rather than focusing, like it's a how you go about this. Let's look at this from two angles real quick. One, if you meet the man, you've been engaging intimately with him, and you generally feel like this thing is too small, that's your decision as a woman, all right? And if you don't want to deal with it, I'm not here to tell you whether you should or you shouldn't. That's your choice, all right? I would much rather you just walk away than to say that to him to make him feel bad. It's almost like now you're gonna walk away and scar him at the same time if you
Yes.
say it. All right. I
Yes.
don't think it's necessary to say it because what may be small to you may be decent to another woman. So there's no reason
Exactly.
to put that in his head because it doesn't meet your standards, right? But
Yes.
let's just say this is a man that you want to be with. You're not going to leave because of this issue, okay? And let me also say this real quick. Because sometimes I've heard of situations where women in certain moments will try to say it like it's a joke, but you ain't joking. You trying to hit them below the belt, no pun intended, right? You're trying to make them feel some kind of way. Don't do that. Don't talk about the man's package like that. No. But if you're gonna be with him and you want to make it work, there's nothing wrong with if you focus on the health, encouraging him to get healthier, he can see improvement there. And again, I do think that if you want to be able to have that kind of conversation, which I think couples should be able to, then it has to be a two-way street where we can both constructively criticize in a way that says how we can make this better. Not in a this is bad, but okay, let's find ways to improve. And here's some things we can take, or here's some things you can start doing to improve, but being open to how you can improve as well. All right. So, but again, just be careful because men are sensitive when it comes to their penis and they're sensitive to a lot of different things. And so I'll just say this, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And a lot of
Definitely.
times as women, you may not be mindful of how sharp your tongue is, how you may lack some tact
I
in
spoke
your
that earlier.
delivery, and learning how to deliver the message in a way that he can receive it can go a long way to making things better in a relationship.
Hey, thank you for
Okay. Before I bring on WTP, let me just say this. I agree 1000% with what he said. Again, like one of my favorite content creators said, if you don't protect the man's six, how can he protect your 12? Or you don't protect the 12, or you protect the six. Well, anyway, I totally 1000% agree. Like I said earlier, just because a person isn't for you doesn't mean that you need to belittle or degrade them and make it worse, you know what I'm saying, or put ideas or thoughts in their head that makes them feel inadequate. Like that's not what we here on earth to do, to make people feel inadequate because they didn't a satisfy us, because maybe you've had too many multiple partners, yeah, I'm gonna say it, and or B just wasn't the person for us, and that's okay. It is totally completely okay. They are not a bad person because they were not the person for you. Understand that and try to learn that early on so you're not wasting time. Okay, so here is a good friend of mine's, WTP. Let's unpack. Let's unpack.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna subscribe to his channel and check out more of his content. That's for sure. But
Oh, that's good. Yes.
yeah. So you did your job, but no, there's a lot to unpack. Do you want to unpack the last thing you kind of spoke about, and I can kind of rebuttal what you just said, or did you want to go back
Oh,
to? Okay, well, all right. Well, yeah, I do think for some reason in our culture, and I look at other cultures, and they don't really do this. At an early age, we are taught this whole dozens, the roasting thing, and we roast each other on things that we actually usually can't even change. Like, for example, I'll roast your dark skin, or you'll roast my peanut head. And there's nothing I can do about that. But in our culture, we always pick apart the things that people can't change and kind of, I think, in a messed up way, ingrain them with the self esteem issues that they have later on in life
mm,
that people can take advantage of.
mhm.
I've seen other cultures and the discernment of like it's completely different. Like you don't talk to people that way, and that's like it's automatic. Like you don't know what that. And I think that our culture has now been influencing other people's cultures. So now that they are doing the same thing that we have done,
Mm.
everything that we've done to kind of destroy our culture, we've now made it cool. So other cultures are now copying it, and other kids are copying it. And that's kind of the goal of what white supremacy kind of was, which is um, I influence everybody negatively, so that the elites can still kind of keep doing what they want to be doing. And I feel like they used our culture to or they used us as the guinea pigs because we're always the most focused on people in the world. Like people love watching us, our pain and our pleasures, whether it's porn, whether it's us dying, people watch us. And what we have done to ourselves are now going to be used to other people's cultures. So now in Japan, like, it used to be a very don't talk to people that way. Now it's like, oh, we're just being cool. The young people are and even here in Germany, and whatever we've done to destroy ourselves is now being done to other people online. The way kids talk to each other online is the same way that we used to talk to each other when we were, in the '90s. Just completely vile. And yeah,
I push back a little bit on that. We still talk the way we did in '90s because we didn't have computers to be behind. Like in the '90s,
mhm,
we had three-way calling. Like if somebody says something and we like, oh, well, this person said that you said this, and this. And then it's
mhm,
like, no, let's call them on three-way because
yeah,
we're gonna bring everybody to the table, and we're gonna discuss it. And then the same thing with, you couldn't really say what you want to say and kind of get away with it. You
yeah,
know, this whole fiasco of Will Smith and everybody, people, if they've seen me, I've had my opinions, but at the end
mhm,
of the day, I think that people forget that words mean something. Words
true, yeah,
mean
I,
something. If you can't say that and all retrospect of somebody coming to you, talking to you,
mhm,
and their words mean something, they've inspired you, and then turn around and say like, because words mean something. It's just those particular words may not mean something to you, but don't negate somebody else's um feelings of what that particular word means to them, if that
true,
makes sense.
absolutely. But
And back in the day,
yeah,
people wasn't so quick to just. I mean, yeah, you roasted because it was comedy, but then when it got
right,
serious, somebody took it serious. Somebody got offensive, and I think that was that actually build character. I am one of the people that we need bullies sometimes.
yes,
In certain aspects, it really and truly
yeah,
builds character if you're able to withstand. But that comes from with also not that comes with also a very um, validating background. Like I think that you need to have um, validating parents in your life to be able to withstand the criticism that you receive within the world, whether it's jokes wise, whether it's somebody excelling further than you. However, in order to be able to control your emotions, you need to be validated first from your
right.
parents.
But what happens if you don't have those parents? What does our music tell you to do?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's why so many
Yeah.
people are easily led astray because they
Yeah.
don't
Like,
have
so
anything
many
to
people
stand
die
on.
over words. I wish we could have a statistic to find out like how many people of color have died over words. How many people have color, or not just people in period? How many people have died because somebody said something that they felt offended by?
Like,
Um,
and I hear that argument, and I so hear that argument, and I hear it. But again, I can't help but wonder, these are the same people that the words can inspire you too. Like, let's not negate the fact that words mean something, that people will be willing to die
mhm.
behind words. Like, what I teach my son, what I teach my son, your word is all that you have as a man. Be truthful
Yes.
in what you speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In any aspect of life, be truthful in what you speak and do what you say and say what you mean at the end of the and say what you're gonna do at the end of the
Mhm.
day. You know what I'm saying? So words do mean something though. Let's not negate
And
that
those words will
fact.
come back, and those words can come back and haunt you.
Yes,
Like
sir.
I'll be teaching my
Yes.
kids the same thing. Is like you thinking you making a joke. You maybe like a month down the line, that person might be drunk and see you in a situation and end up like putting things in motion that end up messing your life up. Like
Yes.
you just don't. I've seen this
Yes.
happen all my like I and people think I speak recklessly, but I really don't. Like I really think about what I'm saying, but I've seen so many people's lives get ruined just by them making a joke, just by them kind of saying some slick shit, or just by them being upset. And then later on, you never know. It might ruin an opportunity you could have had with that person. You never know.
Yes.
Like maybe I say something to you, me and you have an argument. But then if I didn't have that argument with you, maybe one of your female friends, you would have been like, oh, like think your life could end up being so positive if you kind of curb your tongue. And I think the fact that we are so quick to call some shit out, or call somebody out their name, really negates so many positive paths that could, be in our presence.
I
And I'll
agree.
definitely be teaching my kids that, like, a lot of times society is going to want you to be that negative kind of person, but you're actually a lot better off ignoring what society is telling you to do and just do what alchemy and your elders are telling you to do and be positive, and you'll get the blessings from them. You may not get the blessings from society, but you'll get the blessings from them.
Right. I agree. And I think also in reference to that is we need to teach our children the spirit of discernment for them to understand and realize that you never know what someone is going through. You never know. Like I love walking down the street and I see a young man he's walking with his head down and I just say, "Hey, handsome." You know what I'm saying? As I'm walking past him. And I will walk a few feet and then I'll turn around and see if he turned around and look. And he did it because it made him feel good. Like, cause I already know, cause you're walking with your head down, you don't feel good about yourself anyway. And the
Yeah.
fact that you've had somebody to say, "Hey, handsome," that's giving you a little bit of encouragement, that helps you go a long way and you're not as affected so much. But you got to understand and realize, you can't be out here talking reckless because you never know what people are dealing with real life issues. Everybody isn't making it. Just because you're making it, everybody isn't. And they're going to take that offensive. They can't even think
But you
like
are, but you starting crushes. Like you can't be walking. You know how you look. You can't be walking by and say, "Hey, handsome." That person's looking back like he's gonna remember you. That's why your alchemy good, because you got people wasting energy with thoughts of you.
but it's not of that. It's just a level of confidence. But I hear
Yeah.
you. I hear you because I've been learning. I've been learning
You
that women
walking
are
by the homeless people like,
confident.
hey, handsome, and he looking back. That homeless man gonna remember you all night.
Well, that's the thing. Not so much that he remembers me. He remembers that a woman has thought that he was handsome. And that's
Yes.
the thing, to build some type of confidence so that he can be able to go out here and do what he need to do in today's society and be the man that he needs to be. Not to say that,
You're
I
right.
changed his whole life. Not to say
You
that.
you
You know
you
what I'm
get
saying?
hey yo yams. You don't know.
You
Like
know what?
you went and made that man get to put a job application in. He
I am
he
not messing
called
with you.
he called his mama. Like you changing lives, Miss Parker. Go ahead. I
I am
see you.
not. Pause. I'm not. I'm not even indulge. and you making fun of me. But I'm seriously, like I am literally serious in the things that I say. And this is literally what I do, just simply and only because I didn't have that validation. I didn't have that um um
I would love to
confidence
see you do
growing
something
up.
one day. Um, have you ever listened to your son? Like, does he play video games and speak with people online?
No. My daughter does, he doesn't.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter is be 16 this month.
Okay, do this one day and have your daughter, but your daughter, like, she knows you're there, but she doesn't tell the people who, like, and I want you to listen to what she hears when she's playing online gaming and how people speak. And especially if she's playing not with her set circle of friends, but if she actually like goes and actually just playing with strangers. And like, I think what we thought of as far as like how we do, like, but it's so different. Like, I listened to my nephew and how he plays, and I'm just like, you all should not be speak like Jesus Christ. It's a whole different world. And these are like 7, 8, 9 year old kids completely using the
They're
worst language
cussing.
you can think of. Yeah.
They're cussing. Yes.
It's beyond cussing.
Every
It's
word is cussing.
yes.
Yes.
Cussing. And it's just like, do you shut your children off from that? Or like,
Yes. Yes.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
Quick
Because
yes.
it, what you hear, what you see, what you ingest, it that all influences you at the end of the day. Now I can
Yes.
proudly say that my daughter isn't a person that is needing to be online. Like I seen her literally one time and I
Mhm.
had came in. That's the reason why I stood in to watch because I never really seen her play. I seen her brother play the game, but he is
Right.
playing like sports. So he's just um playing against the computer. He's not even
Okay.
online. He just want to play against the computer. That's why I understood what
Mhm.
Savon Speaks was saying because he just need to win
Yes.
somewhere to get
Okay.
that confidence, right? But her, she was online with her friends and she
Mhm.
had the um
Headset.
this yeah, but no because I can hear it, I can hear what
Oh.
they were saying because I was like, you know, so I'm nosy, I
Yeah.
ain't gonna admit, I ain't afraid to admit I'm a nosy parent, you know,
Yeah.
and i'm
You
i'm
gotta
thank
be. Yeah.
yeah, I'm thankful and lucky that I have the relationship with them to be able to so they feel comfortable, you know, let's talk about it, let's show me, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, and so I've seen that, and yeah, if I felt that it was vulgar
Mhm.
and just completely not where I am raising her to be, oh no. I automatically stop it. Is nothing. I don't care. Period point blank. I ruin it. I destroy it. You understand
Okay.
me? Because I
But
care more
throw it out
about
the
you.
window.
You know, I care more about you
Yeah.
than these video games in this world, or you care about your friends. You understand?
Okay. Now, is your son at the age where does he want to make friends online, like, or is he wanting to play the game? Like, he's playing the computer, or he's not. It's not even in his. He's not really looking to do that yet.
No,
Good.
it was literally what he had said. I think is literally just needing to win at life, just confidence, just I think I've always said that fathers give a sense of identity, and the fact that his father isn't around is, and he's now a father, it's a struggle, and then again, like I said with myself, because I'm a mother and I'm supposed to be this nurturing and this teacher and not be strict and stern, like that position is supposed to be held for the father, but because I'm raising a boy,
Right.
I felt that I needed to be strict and stern because that was lacking, and I just refused for the streets, the
Mhm.
gangs, the
Yeah.
police, anybody to, what I'm saying, get a hold of him. I felt that he needed, a sense of structure, but I also am now understanding and realizing that it was very confusing for him, and that's why we bump heads because I'm a woman, and
Yeah.
naturally, women are submissive to men, and as he's becoming a man, you know what I'm saying? It's a different mindset now as I'm mothering him, as he's growing into manhood. Like I always tell my patients, even when I talk prenatal classes, there are different stages of parenting. You have the stage of when they're newborn, when they're a toddler, when they're children, when they're teenagers, when they're young adults. And then even then when they become parents, that is still a different way of parenting. You know what I'm saying? So it is
Yes.
always and forever constantly evolving and changing at the end of the day, because we are. And so we have to go along with the evolves and the changes. I can't go back and take away the wrong I've done, but I can right now and moving forward right my wrongs and try to move in a manner of which is more productive than when I used to, if that makes sense.
Is his baby's mother or not really?
Say that one more time.
Is he with his baby's mother or not really? You said your son's a father now?
Yes, he is with the second one. And
Okay.
I
Do they
one
remind you of how you used to kind of be as far as like, do they kind of have the energy that you were kind of
no,
raising him, or completely different
they
in a
are
good way or
so
bad way?
disrespectful towards each other. No, I was
Okay.
literally like, I was literally the submissive one. I was, I didn't work. His father did not want me to work. He took care of
Hmm.
us for 7 years, for 4 years. We were together seven. He took care of us for 4 years. I didn't work.
Okay.
I didn't do nothing. I was a stay-at-home wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, I took
Okay.
care of him and the household, and his father went out and worked 12 hours a day. I and I was very appreciative and very respectful for it. This
Okay.
generation, she wants to have say so in charge. And I was against it before they had children, but now that they had children, I'm like, and he's like, well, this is the one, mommy. And I'm like, okay, well, marry her.
Yeah.
Don't
It's kind
don't
of,
just make a
ooh,
baby mama out of her. Marry her
right.
and do what you need to do and take care of your family at the end of the day, because this is the person you chose to have a baby with. So that's where I'm
You should
at.
tell him to go to. You should tell him to go to Missouri and marry her, not California though.
I mean, well, I don't believe in biblical marriages, but my son has a different approach to life. He's
Tell him to get biblically
exploring,
married in
he's
Missouri. In
learning, he's
California,
learning. Yeah,
California is
yeah,
tough.
yeah. I mean, you can come and live in California and divorce in California and still get the rights of California. California is its own country, honey.
Yes, it
That's
really
like,
is.
what we generate in California is more than some countries. So
Yeah,
we a little bit different. Yes,
a
sir.
a
We're a
little
little
bit
bit
different.
different.
All
But I
right.
understand. I know this. I teach him that, but
Yeah.
ultimately it is completely up to him, and he is truly his mother's child, and it is a person that needs to bump his head up against the wall a
Yeah.
couple of times before he gets it. Unbeknownst to my daughter. My daughter is the total opposite. She's like, "Oh, that happened to you? I'm not doing that
Yeah.
either." Because
That's
she
actually
can
true.
learn from other people's
I
mistakes.
think
Yeah,
boys got to make the mistakes, and daughters can like kind of see the mistakes and like, oh, okay.
yeah, 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 yeah,
All
yeah.
right. I know you want to wrap up because I know you've been on here for a bit, but there was one thing I wanted to touch on with you.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
in your dating life,
Uh-huh.
do you think like do you compare? Because I mean, that point he was going on was like, yeah, damn. I know I do. Do you compare your? Look at you smiling. You already know. Um, but okay, if do you think it would actually be a benefit if you could just wipe it all clean, all the memories of everything, and try to date with kind of knowledge of what's happened in the past, like, or do you kind of cherish those memories more? Because I to my past women that I've dealt with, and it's always kept me not dealing with the wrong people, not falling into the wrong energies. And when I see certain energies, I'm like, okay, I know how this one woman from my past handled this, and I see how you're handling it. Let me not even deal with you. And then later on in life, I'd see like, oh yeah, that was definitely the right woman not to deal with. So I think it's good and bad, right? But maybe it is something that is hindering us as well. Do you think that
Well,
your past relationships are hindering you and you finding maybe what it is you want to find now?
I love that. I love that you brought it all back to the title.
Mhm.
And are we as modern day women in our own
Mhm.
way? And I think that a lot of women do, whether they vocally or not, tend to compare to somebody else. Now, rather that can be a level of an experience that they've had, and so they are able to recognize what they like and don't like
Hmm.
what they will and won't tolerate. And instead of being able to articulate that they just don't like this particular behavior, they tend to put it off on an ex and say, well, I don't like this behavior because so and so did that to me.
Hmm.
Because then it goes back to, okay, so if so and so didn't do it, like could it have been anybody, or was it just so and so?
Right.
And that's where you will be, you know what I'm saying, be able to identify whether she's still stuck on her ex, and or she just doesn't like this particular behavior and don't know how to articulate it properly, effectively, not properly,
Yeah.
effectively. She don't know how to articulate it perfectively,
Can you
effectively. And so
can you give me an
therefore,
example of maybe someone you're talking to and you kind of cut them off because you compared them to someone in your past and you're like, yeah, let me not deal with that person?
a personal experience, or just give an experience of what I've been told?
Oh, yeah, personal experience. I'll
I'm not
I'll
giving
give you
you no
one too to
personal experience.
make it fair, you know.
I'm not gonna
So
give
it
you no
ain't,
personal experience. No. um I have definitely, when I haven't had the time to really um just, I don't want to say de-escalate. That's not the term I'm looking for, but be able to sit still for a
mhm.
while, to be able to detox. That's what I'm looking for. To
Okay.
detox from the spirit of the person that I was just with, and that comes from not, that comes from abstaining sex,
Hmm.
abstaining dealing with anybody else, and literally and truly just self evaluating and reflection and working on you. And when I haven't given myself that full time to do that, I can honestly say that somebody had done something that reminded me of an ex of mine. And instead of effectively communicating, saying that I don't like this particular behavior,
Hmm.
I said, you remind me of my ex.
Okay. I see that.
You see what I'm saying? See, it's never
Yeah.
what you say, it's always how you say it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to, again, like I was saying, have extend grace in what it is that you're saying, because you want to be able to have the person hear, you know what I'm saying, what it is you said.
Mhm.
Because if a person feels attacked, they automatically become defensive.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, peer pressure, they don't hear nothing else that you said. If they feel that you are attacking them, and then I know, because I've done it, women's questions can be accusatory. You know,
Hmm.
you could ask a question in an accusatory form. And for a man, that's just very disturbing, especially if he hasn't displayed any type of behaviors to allow you to feel like that. Like, certain people will come off with these feelings and their anger and this discernment behind a behavior, but blame it on the person. And it's not the person, it's the behavior, it's the action that you had a problem with, but you're blaming it on that person. That's just unfair. And that's where we become in our own way.
Okay. I see that. I think from the man's point of view, it's and personal experience, I find it hard to be seduced by black women here because in black women in America, it's a different type of it's more, it's hard to say, but it's just different. Whereas let's say the black women here, it's like it's hippie-ish, it's classy-ish, like it's
Interesting.
and right. So it's like whether it's kissing, whether it's the seduction that leads up to it, or even the sexual act. I find that American sisters, like it's just a different type of back and forth, and I'll judge that here, and I'll be like, well, the energy is not what, like, she can't seduce me like women in my past. She can't make my blood pump the way women in my past. And maybe it's the same thing that men will say, for you guys having, uh, soul ties, or like too many partners, and like, but and when people bring it up, like, oh, well, that's maybe makes sense. Maybe I have had too many experiences, so I can't connect with this one person who may be a little bit smaller or may not have the great sex game. And people will say, well, you need to kind of settle for that. And from the man's point of view, I think it's the same way. I think that sometimes we get so turned out sexually by women, and that later on in life we can't, like, there's some probably some good women who really liked me and really wanted to, and I was just like, look, I can't lie to you, like, you don't do it for me that way. And is that something maybe from the past that maybe am I getting in the own way of my blessings because my sexual attraction to another women of my past is like cutting me off from that? Like, it feels like the logical thing would be like, no, just go ahead and give that a shot and teach. And I don't like teaching. I want the woman to already know what she's, like, and I don't want to. I don't want to have a dance partner who can't dance, and then I have to teach her how to dance. Like, I want that rhythm to all. Hell, I want you to dance better than me. I want you, and it's a difference. So I wonder if it's the same thing. If it's like from the male point of view, if that's kind of like we want the good girls, but we still want that thought energy. We want the good girls, but we still want that, like, them to have that whole activity, to have that whole soul. We talk so much about Jada Pickett, but we still want that Jezebel energy. Like,
Interesting.
we say we don't, but we do. And I wonder if it's the same thing for women, where it's like you guys want that good guy, but you still want that 9-inch thug motherfucker, or the pretty boy with the Albie Sure hair. Like, I think both of us are still kind of can't middle because of our past experiences. Like, you've gotten the great thug sex, and I've gotten the great hoe energy, and now we're older, and we're trying to meet in the middle, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And we can't
Yeah.
because we got too many memories from the past. Maybe.
Yes, I hear you. I understand you. Again, like I say, I think it's just a level of miscommunication and being able to articulate what it is that we are really trying to say, because it's not really and truly the person, is the behavior. Like, you could think that this person is fine and is good, but they do this particular behavior that you have come to know that that is something that you just will not tolerate, and or you just do not like. And so therefore you will have to get rid of her. But we as human beings want to give people the benefit down, especially if we can find something that we really like and we're like,
Yeah.
well, so we tend to overlook
Yeah.
certain things that really bother us. And then in the end, it blows up in our face because it was something that was just a deal breaker, or it was something that we just couldn't tolerate at the end of the day. And so then we begin to lash out and say, it's you, when it's not the person, it's just the action. And then we have to be okay with understanding and realizing that it is this particular action that I don't like. And if you are comfortable with continuing being this way, I now know that you were just not the person for me. And that's okay. Rather it is, now granted, let me say this and make this disclaimer. People definitely need to heal. And I always say that the only person that can heal you is the Most High. You go to therapy to remind you of things that you already know to help keep you on track. But if you're looking for healing,
Mhm.
the Most High is a person that can heal you from past traumas, from
And
that
mushroom.
trauma. Yes, sir. And so that is what you definitely need to get
Yep.
to be able to be healed first, and then go to therapy to help maintain this healing.
Yes. Yes.
To give you life skills every day. You did the Most High, but people, hey, I'm with it, I'm for it, and help you understand the steps that you need to take to become the best version of yourself. Um, if you are definitely blaming the other person and not the action, or not taking any accountability for your um, behave for your choices in this situation, then you are definitely one that needs to heal. If you are one that is allowing somebody to continuously hurt you and not treat you in the manner that you feel that you should be treated or deserve, or just plain human decency, you definitely need to go to therapy. Like, it's something that should not be tolerated. And I think that we as Black people have been through so freaking much, and so much has affected us,
Hmm.
from what we have been through from generations to generations that just been taught. Just, it's kind of like telephone. You tell a message, a
Yeah.
clear, present message at the beginning, and by the time it gets to the end, the message is so distorted. And I think
Hmm.
that for us as Black people, the message has been so distorted on how we're supposed to be and behave and act, and it's difficult to fall back. And only the people
I
can
think
actually.
we don't even have a blueprint on how to act in relationships. I think we're really good at getting together, but as far as like staying together, that's where it always just falls apart.
What
And I wish we had examples to look at where it's like, okay, these are the people that stayed together, and we can kind of mirror them, but we don't have many examples of, like, there's no real books of how to maintain, like how to deal with, being. And I always hear like people saying like, I think it'd be a great idea for Black people, once they are like coupled up and having children, to get into some sort of therapy together right away. Now, and I think it was supposed to be the Black church, but it stopped being that. Like, I think the Black church used to be that in the 80s and 90s, when people got together and they had like fellowship and they had other married couples they talked with, but like that's all gone really. And I hope that with this whole last 2 years, I really hope the Black church would step up and try to like fill the void of some of those things that have been lost. Morning, Uncle Stu. I can't believe
Thank
she's live
you.
either, right?
Well, I totally agree with what it is you said, and I want to elaborate on the churches being the forefront of counseling services for married couples. And the reason that is because there is a book that is giving us the blueprint on how we are supposed to move in relationships.
Fight
And
Club? No.
no, but I do love Black Love. I do love Black Love.
the good book. The good
The
book.
good book. Yes, sir. I mean,
Okay.
it's basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yes.
At the end of the day, Deuteronomy tells us, you got Corinthians all throughout the Bible, Psalms, you know what I'm saying? There are different things that the scriptures are specifically saying, rules,
Mhm.
laws on which we are both supposed to um, behave, react, live within a union with each other. And that has gotten away because we've gotten to this YOLO
Yeah.
generation. Don't nobody care about what's going to happen. And I just think it's just that my generation kind of took, you're going to be struck down
Hmm.
literally. And the fact when they sinned, they was not literally struck down like it was back in the day in the Bible
Yeah.
before Jesus came, you know.
Yeah. It's a crock pot struck down. Like it
Right.
takes
That's what
time.
people fail to realize.
It's a slow burn. Yeah.
He came to take away the ability for us to have to kill a firstborn cow for some type of animal to make a sacrifice to be forgiven for our
Yeah.
sins. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But it didn't mean that we ain't chastised for it. We still gonna get chastised. That's just
Yes.
like us as parents. The kids may do something we don't like. We're gonna chastise them, but we forgive them.
You're gonna keep
And
saying chastise, ain't you?
because that's what we're doing. That's what's
It's,
happening.
it's
God is chastising
chastise.
us
Ain't it chastise?
when we ain't equally yoked. You ain't supposed to be with that person. You
True.
know it. You know what I'm
But
saying?
they
It
make
should
you feel
never
good.
be. I understand that, but it should never be a fight to have to
Mhm.
be good. If it
Yes.
doesn't just genuinely, naturally come, there's a
Hmm.
problem. You're not equally yoked, and no matter how much you teach or nothing,
Hmm.
that person ain't right for you. Not just
Yeah.
that person ain't right. That this person just ain't right for you. That person may be okay for somebody. Like some men like ghetto women. Some men like hood women. Some
Hmm.
men like very feminine, dainty, dazzling, distressed, talk
Right.
soft. You know, it just depends on what it is that you like. And I think that for men, they've been taught to go out there to experience, not to just be able to experience so that you can be mean to women, but it is
Hmm.
literally so you would know what you like, don't like, what you will, what you won't
Hmm.
tolerate, so that you can be able to lead effectively.
Yeah. Absolutely.
At the end of the day, pure plain blank.
Yeah. Good point. Like I said, I'm very glad that I did my fun stuff in my 20s. So then it's like, now that I'm at this age, it's not like I'm trying to chase my youth. It's just like I know which partner I want to have and which energy I want to deal with. Had I probably had children early, then I would be at my age right now trying to like play in all these sandboxes when, because like I'm chasing my youth, which is a lot of people do after breakups. But I'm more or less trying to like still kind of focus on what I'm building here and finding the right sandbox. And I think that's kind of, I would assume you're probably doing the same thing, like but it's tough because
Yeah.
them sandboxes got a lot of toys, them sandboxes be looking right, but still, I think no, I definitely want to check this person out for sure, and I'm glad. I don't know what is in California. You had a 2 a.m. live, so hey, whatever.
That's right. I know. I am a night owl. I am. I'm not
Hey,
gonna lie.
I'm like I said, I'm glad.
Sometimes I
I'm
am.
glad.
Let me make it
Hey, I'm
clear.
glad I caught
Sometimes.
it. So
But I
don't you
wasn't.
be don't you be winking at me, Miss Parker? Just making my heart pump. Anyway,
It's too
um,
many people that are, going
yeah,
on right now. I just really want this to be out there because I just thought that this was something that um, the women that have came to me that
yeah,
have asked me, well, why did they ghost me? And they tell me their scenario of what's happened in their
yeah.
perspective. And so I just want to give them a little insight of maybe you may have done this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
I seen it and felt that it needed to be said just to help out the women. Stop. We're in our own way, you
Yeah.
know,
No, the
and we
men
are
too.
not getting the
The men
outcomes that
too.
we want because we're in our own way.
Yeah. We got to do a live one day, like online ghost stories. Like we got like
Oh my
why
God.
why have you had to why have you had to ghost somebody on like yo my ghost game? I be ghosting
Well,
people
in some
quick.
instances, I like it. I like it. I
All
like
right.
it. Yes, sir. We
Well,
must
all right.
do
I'll let
this.
you
I
finish up.
appreciate
But,
you for pulling up, my love. Thank you.
hey, always, I'm always down to support, and I'm on. Hey, hit me up if you ever want to chat. You know me. You know how I get down.
Of course, my love. Peace and blessings.
All right, y'all.
Thank you.
Peace.
Well, my loves, I appreciate everybody that took the time out to um, listen to what I had to say. If you even felt interest, I hope that I sparked some type of conversation. I hope that I sparked some type of thought. I hope that you were able to gain some type of insight perspective from this conversation. And I'll leave you with this. Remember, improving your relationship with the opposite sex starts with you. Do the work so that you can attract what you want. Peace and blessings, my love. Thank you.